Hey, how you doing? This is Al Bob's dad. I'm dead. Are you dead? What does being dead mean? It means they buried you in the park. And there are a lot of you out there that are living in the park, or think they are. And what is that park? It's that place that is seemingly I live in reality. I live in reality. But here we are out in the deep. Oh, look, it's Al Bob. Hey, gang, and welcome aboard. Hey, Dad, thanks for coming by. Oh, no problem. You know, you're always my favorite. You were always my favorite, Dad. Really? Well, maybe not. Oh, so let's go thumbing through the digital world here. Let's see. Boo, boo. There's our boy. Where is he? He's around there somewhere. What happened? Where'd you go? My fingers just touch anything and it goes scoozy. Do, 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 do. Hmm. Sounds really looking good. And bring. Okay, this is an idea for a movie or video or skit called Feces Bed. Feces Bed. The feature film. What happens is there's a guy who's laying in bed and he doesn't want to get out of bed to use the bathroom. I wonder who that is. He's a little depressed, but not really. He just doesn't want to do anything anymore ever again. He's so tired of everything. I wonder who that is. And so he has his phone and he's in bed like I have my phone right now, and I'm filming on it. And he calls the Kroger delivery to deliver him a bunch of groceries, and he texts the delivery person and says, "Can you please walk in the upstairs door, go up the steps, and walk in, and bring me the grocery? You can leave the groceries on my actual bed." And she says, I keep saying John is the canary in the coal mine because Lord have mercy. Let's go to the radio.
Someone so clearly is presidential material. Yes. It just looks like a money operation.
Yes, that's what's going on with our present elected representatives.
The difficult history and not whitewashing it, but instead saying this is what we did and this is what we're going to do and this is how we're moving forward. Hear that story on All Things Considered from NPR News.
So this is NPR News. This is the radio.
Support for WETS comes from Holston Habitat for Humanity. Habitat Restores offer 35,000 square feet of opportunity to reduce, reuse, and recycle home furnishings, appliances, household goods, and building supplies by donation or purchase. Locations in Johnson City and Kingsport.
cloud-based phone service for any size business with an automated virtual receptionist, video meeting.
Panama's northern coast and has faced some of the worst impacts of climate change. Indigenous people on the island have requested support from the Panamanian government since at least 2010 and are scheduled to move to a relocation site on mainland Panama by the end of the month. Human Rights Watch says the Panamanian government has yet to make clean water, sanitation services, or healthcare available at the relocation site. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. A critical hearing in the extradition case of imprisoned WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange wrapped up at the British High Court of Justice in London Wednesday. Assange's lawyers asked the court to grant him a new appeal in what's likely his last chance to avoid extradition to the...
Bushmaster, Crazy Horse 1-8. Bushmaster 7, go ahead. Roger, we have a black SUV, our Bongo truck.
In fact, that designation internally opened the door for the CIA to launch and plan all sorts of operations that didn't require a presidential finding and didn't and wasn't going to be briefed to Capitol Hill. These were offensive counterintelligence activities. Pompeo, there's abduction plans to basically a snatch operation to take Assange from the Ecuadorian embassy. There was talk of assassination, although we want to be clear, that never was forwarded to the White House. That was internally within the CIA. The abduction plans were, as part of a much broader, multi-pronged CIA attack on WikiLeaks that included stealing computers, surveillance of WikiLeaks associates, sowing discord among its members, and
So that was Michael Isikoff laying out their findings. Jennifer Robinson, can you tell us about what the abduction and assassination plan was and what your team told the two judges in the High Court?
Well, you just heard about the Yahoo News revelations about the CIA plot to kidnap and kill Mr. Assange. We also had witness evidence from a protected witness who provided evidence that inside the embassy there had been plans to attempt to poison Julian, that they'd made plans to potentially leave a door open so someone could come in and kidnap and kill him. This evidence, we didn't have the evidence of the CIA plot before the last evidential hearing, so we've sought permission to admit that as fresh evidence, which provides support to some of the broader arguments that we're making about the way that Julian's being punished for revealing state criminality, because of course there was, as you will remember, under the Obama administration chose not to indict Julian Assange. There was an ongoing grand jury investigation, but there had been a decision not to prosecute. The decision to prosecute came from the Trump administration and came only after WikiLeaks had published the CIA materials in 2017. And we started to see Mike Pompeo come out and use language like WikiLeaks is a hostile non-state intelligence agency. Jeff Sessions soon came out as Attorney General saying it was suddenly a priority to prosecute Assange for these historic publications. And we say that this shows both the political nature of the prosecution and the fact that it was pursued by the Trump administration in retaliation for those publications on the CIA as part of this broader plan, including a plan to kidnap and kill him. And we also say that this shows the danger, the extreme risk that Julian is going to face if he's extradited to the United States. I think it's important to remember that we won the case a few years ago on the basis of the oppressive prison conditions Julian would face if he was placed under special administrative measures, or SAMs, together with his depressive illness and his autistic diagnosis. That the accepted medical evidence before the court in this country is that he would be caused to commit suicide. The US then offered a conditional assurance to say, well, you can extradite him, we won't place him under those conditions unless he does something to deserve it in the future. And who decides whether or not he'll be placed in prison conditions that the medical evidence shows will cause his death is the intelligence agencies, and we would have no ability to judicially review that. That is a really serious situation, and it's why we are so concerned about him being extradited to the United States in the context of the fact the CIA plotted to kidnap and kill him.
Last week, Australia's parliament overwhelmingly approved a motion calling for the release of Julian, who is an Australian citizen. The resolution was introduced by Australian MP Andrew. Because he released names, he endangered people. Can you respond to that?
I certainly can. He he wasn't the first person to do that. There was another website that released material, and it's now become apparent that he actually went to some attempts, certainly to tip the US government off before he felt the necessity to release them. Now, I mean, we had disagreements about that at the time. We weren't in touch, and I don't think the 5 newspapers knew of his attempts to alert the authorities. But I think it's really a smokescreen for the way that, certainly since the Edward Snowden revelations, which I was also involved in,